And we are live for another Friday night.
Friday Night Live.
Ryan, what's going on, man?
You just heard my phone go off. See, I had it settings to let me know the second you come online.
The second, right?
Yeah, do the second. Well, we had an awesome Destination Linux episode recorded today. That's what's going on.
Yes, we did. I'm going to post a link in the group here for the Zoom chat. See who we get in here.
Hey, I'm all big and you're small.
Yeah, that's because there's more. There's as soon as a third person joins. Then,
I like how you have this set up now. It's much better.
Zeb, what's going on, brother?
Zeb.
Uh-oh. I don't think his audio is right.
Can't hear you, Zeb.
Nope. I don't think I have to unmute him. Let's see here.
Hey, Nick.
He's unmuted. Uh-oh, it's Tech Bismo. Tech Bismo in the house. Matt.
The Dark One.
We can't hear you, Zeb.
Okay, can we hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Is that Solus I see on your wallpaper there?
Oh, here we go.
We can hear you.
Matt, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing, Marco?
Your audio is so terrible. What's happening, brother?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Zeb.
I can't do much about the audio. Unfortunately, my mic is all packed up.
Uh-oh. Packed up? What, are you moving?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Moving's never fun, man.
No.
Moving is never fun. So, did everybody hear the Purism news?
Yeah, 50% already.
Way over 50%, dude.
Has it moved on again?
84.84%.
Wow.
1,272,000 right now. So they're almost on their way to 1.5 million. So
People are hungry for a third option. No doubt about it.
16 days to go, and they're almost there. You should see Alan Popey. He in the Ubuntu podcast, he made a chart, scraped the website, made a chart of how fast their progression was, and like the past 200,000 have come almost immediately. Like the chart just goes like a steady graph up, and then the previous 200,000 just go almost straight up.
That's crazy.
Hopefully they meet their goal.
They have some stretch objectives in there too, which they're probably going to need to meet to really make it. It just doesn't seem like $1 million is enough to do what they're doing, but maybe it is. They would know. They've done it before with laptops. It's not like they're a new company.
Hola. So they get to their 1.5 million. How long before the phone hits the market?
3 years. No, I don't honestly know. I don't honestly know. It's almost like they're just securing the money first so that they can then make a plan on how to go forward with it. So,
and if it never comes to fruition, do you lose your money?
You're basically donating your money, yes.
But this is a company that's made equipment before, so there have been people who've been burnt by these type of Kickstarters where they give money and then the company goes away or spends it and then never ends up being able to develop it. But these guys have launched major laptops and big pieces of equipment for security-centric equipment before. So,
and it's a regular crowdfunding page, like it's their own page. So there is no set way to like go about it if they don't reach their goal, or if they do reach their goal, you get your money back. There's no set rules or anything, and you pretty much have to donate at least $600 in order to even be, to get a phone, an actual phone, it's $599.
So January 2019 is the estimated delivery date.
And that's a, you know what I mean? That's like a generous timeline.
Yeah. It's still pretty far away. If you spend $600 today, you won't have your phone till January 2019.
It's funny though, because there's so many people that have said I would, but I'm gonna wait. If this actually came into, like, there was an actual phone, there would be so many more people that would donate, so many more people that would buy it. There's so much interest in it. It's just that people are afraid to donate. Well, not donate, but back.
I want to know who the 5 backers are that donated or pledged $19,999 apiece.
I would assume they're companies somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't have that kind of spare change laying around. Do you?
No.
Well, they're people who recently won a lottery.
I kind of work, so I don't have that kind of change. Jonas, you got that, right?
Nope.
Jonas got that all day long.
No, I just I'm just trying to get by.
Aren't we all?
Would like to get into a house first.
Right. Jonas, man, I haven't seen you join. Welcome, dude.
Hello. I passed my Security Plus this week.
Congrats. That's awesome, man.
Yep.
How was that test?
It's not that hard if you have the networking and cryptography background.
Yeah.
But I mean, cryptography, it's a small portion, but it can help you answer a lot of the other questions for other objectives, just because it makes it so easy to eliminate answer choices. When you recognize it, you know what it is, and you're like, oh wait, that has nothing to do with this.
Right.
But I mean, overall, it wasn't that hard of a test. I mean, it helps if you're in the field a little bit. Some stuff clicked better than previous years.
I've heard that about a lot of those tests, that if you're not in the industry, you better study 3-4 times as hard.
Yeah, you kind of do, especially more on the compliance and operational security side of things. Just because that's more on like the management side and how what you're providing as a service to your company or institution. That's how you sell it to your VPs and your executives, because if you're trying to put in certain types of security policies in place, you have to have buy-in from the top down, because without that support up at the top, you know, employees don't have to listen to you. They don't have to listen to your policies. I was like, oh, well, what happens if I don't listen to you?
Right.
So, but other than that, I mean, again, it's heavy emphasis on networking background. So just really know how the network stuff works. Network Plus material, Cisco, CCNA.
Right.
If you have that general knowledge, I mean, you can easily obtain a Security Plus with a little effort.
Well, congratulations, man. That's no small feat, and I think that's awesome that you got that done. So,
yep,
what's next on your agenda?
I linked it in your Discord, actually. That penetration testing with Kali Linux training. That's my next one.
Nice.
So I'll be going after that one next.
There's a Linux certification out there as well, like a Linux Plus, right?
There's a Linux Plus. There's the LP.
Wait, Linux Plus is 3 certifications in one, too, I believe.
I think it is, yes. However, value-wise, maybe I'll do that one of these days if I'm bored enough in like a year or two.
There you go. Awesome.
Well, something's wrong with the stream here. I don't know what's going on with it, but we're not getting a good connection.
It keeps freezing, I've noticed.
Yeah, well, the stream status is bad, apparently, according to YouTube, so...
so it's YouTube's fault.
Not sure what's going on with it. It's not my... I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it. Now it's back to good, so we'll see. Hopefully it cooperates, but...
It's the Russians.
It's the Russians' fault. Yeah. So Zeb, you couldn't make it last week.
No, I was. I went with the family to a theme park in the UK called Chessington World of Adventure. Took our little 4-year-old grandson. Yeah, it was pleasant. It's the usual theme park.
Are you a rider or of like roller coasters and that stuff? Are you?
I can, as long as they make the seats big enough. In the UK, they tend to cramp me up too much. So I'm sitting in the seat and I get all claustrophobic rather than enjoy the ride. And I had a bad experience in the big one up north where I was stuck in a seat with the rest of the people for 2 hours, just hanging over the precipice as it was meant to go down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But when I went to America and Disney World, wow, the seats there are huge. So I didn't feel anywhere near as sort of claustrophobic. So yeah, when the seats are big enough, I like to ride.
To fit an average American, they have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to be bigger, yeah.
Hey, Barb?
Yeah?
What's going on?
Oh, not much. I just thought I'd join in for about an hour.
Well, there you go. Well, hey, there's a new format here. Okay, so it is not an open-ended. I have to like cut down on stuff so that I can actually get stuff done. So we are going to do it from 10:30 to 12:30.
Oh, okay. Because it was getting kind of long.
Yeah, the stream will be ending at 12:30, and well, you know, like a lot of times there's people that join early and there's people that join late. They don't come early. So I was trying to get everybody involved, and different people show up. And there's a lot of times where the conversation is going on, and I don't really want to stop the conversation because it's really good. But either way, 10:30 to 12:30. 12:30 is when we'll end the stream, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, good. Because last week I turned into a pumpkin and couldn't function because it went on to like.
Ryan knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
don't you, Ryan?
Yeah. I'm a morning person, so for me this is like.
Yep, I hear you.
Well, that's where I'm okay, because for me it is the morning. It's 3:45 a.m.
I can't believe you are up this early, man.
I get up most days 4 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
That's being more of a morning person than me. I used to get up at 5:30 every morning.
That's good. That's nice.
Well, at least the stream is working now.
Cool. So, where has the figure settled for how much Linux has grown? Because I've seen 6.9, 4.2, 3.8, 1.6. Joe Collins did a really interesting video where it was just going up and down all day long. So what is the actual figure, do we think?
Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. There's all kinds of opinions, and
I'm going with the higher of them.
Well, look, you can be you can look at the numbers and be hopeful that it's higher, or you can be more realistic and realize that it's not going to jump that much that quickly. We'll see what happens. You got to let it play out, because we talked to a guy today on Destination Linux, and he was.
We shall go unnamed.
No, he's
no. You can't tell anybody.
Tell him.
No way.
Tell him.
It's top secret.
I already told him in the Telegram group before.
How dare you?
We interviewed Michael Larabelle from Phoronix. So we were talking to him.
Such an encyclopedia, man.
Man, he's like a super smart guy, dude. Like ridiculous. But anyway, that was actually brought up, and you know, he wasn't convinced either that it was up to that high.
Well, he believes it's higher. He definitely believes it's much higher than it's ever been before, but not necessarily that big jump there.
Well, it all depends on how they're determining whether it's Linux or you know, what are their metrics.
Yep.
That's my big issue with Steam, because there was a big news on Steam that the Linux community percentage has gone down in gaming for Steam. And the flaw with Steam is, and I've experienced this myself, is Steam may ask you to take the survey, and it's just, do you want to send your equipment information while you're logged in trying to play a game in Windows because it's not available in Linux? And you click yes. And it could be that one time that you're playing that one game, and now you're a Windows user, not a Linux user. So it's the stats are kind of flawed in that. And so people, I saw that news headline that gaming on Linux is going down, and I know it's just my experience and with my community, but I don't feel like that way at all. There's so many people, it seems like, jumping on the Linux bandwagon. Now, are all of them dual booting to play some of their favorite games? Sure. But they're also buying the games that are available in Linux, probably in Linux. So it's hard to say with the way they do these stats.
but neither of the two companies will publish their stats either. It's just a mix.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then you got Chrome OS in there. You got Chromebooks and stuff. So that I don't know what everybody feels. Do you even consider that? I mean, I know it's
based on
Linux.
Gentoo, isn't it?
Yeah, but do you consider that a Linux?
What
do you guys think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the base of it is, but I don't know.
Like, do you consider Android Linux?
No,
I really don't.
It is,
though,
but
you know?
no.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about Chrome.
Android is basically it is a mobile OS that was built on top of the Linux kernel. It's not the Linux that you think of that you go download and install on your computer.
Oh no, I know that.
Not quite the same. So yeah, I don't technically consider it a Linux distro, or I don't consider it Linux, even though I know it's powered by it.
It's great for numbers, and it's great when somebody's not used to Linux and you're like, you have an Android phone, you use Linux all the time. But then when you look at the principles of Linux, Android follows none of them. And neither does the Chromebook. The privacy, the tools that are available there, being more secure than other operating systems, like none of that's really there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like think of the Sony PlayStation. The PS4 was basically what Sony turned. I think it was it was either free. It was a free BSD. I think it's what it was based off of, or either free or open BSD. One of those. I know it's a BSD base where they had to basically take the base and then build that beautiful PlayStation 4 interface that we know and love when we're picking our games to play. But I mean, it's interesting to note that yes, that was based off of BSD. OS X Mac. Also based off of BSD.
And as is iOS, too.
Yeah, iOS also.
But it's funny, in my opinion, like I don't consider Android a Linux version because of Google and the way it's made. Right. But then if a video game console like you had brought up last week, Ryan, comes out with a Linux base that's made by a proprietary company, say, we consider that a Linux based on Linux kind of thing. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword where I really don't that? And do. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's based on Linux too, I know.
But like I said, it's like I would consider that based on Linux, but I wouldn't really consider Chrome OS, probably only because of the name Google.
I mean, this is basically a Raspberry Pi and a really cool shell. Like, that's all it is. And that's what's kind of neat about the Nintendo devices and stuff. But it is neat to see so many people build their gaming platforms off of Linux. But you can't really consider them full Linux either. But it's neat that they're building it there. It just shows you the potential.
Yeah, what it is it's because the Linux kernel can power, or it can run so many different architecture types, so many different types of processors. It's not just the standard 64-bit 30 or x86 that we think of every day. So these other devices, the Raspberry Pi and the Android, they're running a different type of processor, and the Linux kernel was just the easiest thing for them to grab, so that their hardware for whatever they're using on their mobile device can actually talk to and communicate with the processor back and forth. So it's Linux, but it's not the Linux OS as we know it.
Right.
Yeah. Well.
So anybody look at, speaking of Google's new Chromebook, the $999 Chromebook?
I was going to say
supposed to replace the Pixel, which was some incredible amount of money also for a Chromebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the ability to draw on it like you can with the Surface. So they're going after the Surface Book from Microsoft directly, with a pen addition to it. The pen is an additional $100 though, if you'd like to add that, from what I understand.
But didn't I read the Surface is going to be dumped in 2019, if not sooner?
The Surface is probably going to be dumped, but not the line of Surface. So there's the Surface tablet, which I don't think they're planning on continuing because their Surface Book has been so popular. Microsoft's actually doing really well, from my understanding, with the Surface Book.
On the note of Microsoft and dumping things, they are renaming their Skype for Business platform.
So what?
What?
Microsoft Connect, I think. I forgot what it was. I don't know. They're basically doing what they did with Messenger. You know, they take something, they buy it out, they keep it for a couple years, and then they put the bullet in it and rename it something else.
That's funny.
I mean, that's Microsoft.
So what's Link? Because we've got Link at work, and I thought that was Microsoft.
It is. It's technically Link. Okay. Link becomes Skype for Business after Microsoft buys it. And now that they've had it for a couple years, they're renaming it again.
Oh my gosh.
Because they bought Skype also too at some point in that same time period.
What's it say? Skype for Business is renamed to Skype. What?
It was called Microsoft something. I remember when I saw the headline, I just did one of these. Really?
Nothing like renaming stuff to make it new again.
It's innovative.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of on the edge.
It's so corporate America.
I
look at you, Michael.
I see what you
Slip
did
in there with the pun.
That was a nice pun. The infamous Microsoft Edge, which I've noticed keeps getting new CVEs published every month. Meaning it's riddled with vulnerabilities.
No.
Don't use it.
Stop it.
Don't use it. Seriously, don't use it.
Pete,
there's problems with the scripting engine that runs the browser. I
Pete
noticed
says,
vulnerabilities for that keep coming up every month. Every month I see vulnerabilities coming up for the scripting engine.
Pete in the chat said that Skype for Business is renamed to Microsoft Teams.
Ah, it was Teams.
Oh, that's a terrible name. Oh, good Lord.
Hey, it's
And then Skype for everybody else is going to disappear. Probably.
No.
No.
The Skype for Business was just a Slack competitor.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this Microsoft Teams is basically just, branching it off into an actual Slack competitor.
Wow.
Did anybody watch Brian Lunduke's video, by the way, on what is Microsoft doing with Linux?
No.
Worth watching. He brings some very good points to it. And he explains it in a very simple way, too, which I
so give us the Cliff Notes.
So basically what he's noticed is Microsoft, the CEO, who he's actually, had the pleasure of speaking to and hearing speak, is a known, voice of, he does not like Linux. He bashes on Torvalds. He doesn't, care much for Linux. But recently, Microsoft has been investing a lot of money into different Linux foundations, different Linux organizations, which is good, I guess, in terms of like, okay, extra money is always nice, but it also can create a dependency if, say, an organization decides to take that money and turn around and hire a couple people. Now they're dependent on that donation to be able to pay those people, because without it, then they have to lay them off. You have to downsize. It's not good overall. But what it does give Microsoft is leveraging power to, they'll be more inclined to, do things to keep me happy if I keep giving them donations. So right now he says that in the short term, there's not enough information to really know what's going to happen. It's good for Linux right now as it stands, because if you've noticed, they've turned open source like the .NET Core, Azure, and I think like 2 other big services or products that they've made open source. Xamarin is another popular one as well that they took and they open sourced.
That's a company.
But well, it's a company, but I think it branched out from Mono. They picked it up.
It's the company who makes Mono, and Mono is always open source.
Okay. Well, either way, what it does is it gives them leveraging power later on, if they want, certain things incorporated in. So it's good for an enterprise market kind of thing, but it's bad if like someone else has like a different idea that goes against the standard. It's easier to squash out that kind of competition when you already have a firm foothold on some of the more well-known organizations. So I would say watch the video. I mean, I'm very much summarizing it in a nutshell. He goes into a lot more detail, and he can explain it better than I can.
Well, Satya is the CEO of Microsoft, and he's never talked stuff about Linux.
Listen to Lunduke's story. Then he's got a story for you. He'll tell you.
He also worked for Microsoft too. So like,
yeah, he did. He mentioned that.
Like,
he
what
does.
is there,
he starts off the video.
Had nothing to do with like this stuff, and
I would say watch the
guy who
video
started-
first.
Sure, but Satya is the guy who started the open sourcing of stuff. Microsoft has been a part of the Linux community for years. This is not new.
Right.
In 2012, Microsoft was the leading contributor to the kernel.
Really?
Yes. They had the most contributors and the most codes submitted lines of all contributors, including the community itself, by like 4,000 or 5,000 commits. Like, this is not a new thing. Them putting money into stuff is not new. It's benefiting them.
Yes, it does.
What they're doing it. That's all they ever do is just do stuff that benefits them. They open .NET. Well, why do they open .NET? So it'll run on Linux, so they can put Linux in Azure and they can still use .NET, so they can still own that market.
Makes it easier to transition people over to Windows servers later on if they want to move their stuff over.
No, they've given up on Windows Server pretty much. Like the fact that they're open sourcing 2 Linux servers means they can't win in the server world. They have no chance. They've already been trying for 20 years, and they are.
Oh, I know. I know they won't win in the server world. I already know their Linux subsystem has issues with it, which I think some people were saying actually went back to the Windows kernel. Because at the end of the day,
subsystem is not for the server world. It's not for that. It's for developers to use Linux tools in the Windows world, so they don't have to leave. That's to try to keep people to stay on Windows. And the people who decided to make the subsystem with Microsoft, using it as a way to convince people, hey, you know, these tools that you could just use these tools normal because they're available in Linux. So it's like both sides are using the same thing for their own purpose. But like in the sense of like the SQL Server and .NET and all these things coming to support Linux, it's purely because they can use it as, hey, you know, don't forget about us. We know the server is Linux dominant, and we can never top it because it's 90% servers is Linux. We can't stop that. But we could be your managing service, and we can help you facilitate all of your Linux servers.
Well, I mean, I don't know. In the long term, it's still it could be bad for Linux, but right now it's still, like you said, there's really nothing new going on in terms of what's been going on over the years. But it was an interesting video nonetheless. I think it's better for people who are in the industry, yes, who are in the enterprise area, because for me, as someone like, for example, if I'm applying somewhere, if I know I can get what I need done for work, regardless of the environment, I prefer to run a Linux system. If I'm expected to work on SQL Server for whatever, I hate the fact I have to run Windows just to properly interact with said server. So, you know, I mean, for me, it's more of a convenience thing for me, being able to actually do that kind of work without having to go into a Windows desktop or a Windows server.
Sure,
that I do like.
Right, it benefits the developer side and the sysadmin side. Like, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't really hurt Linux because Linux is not been damaged by this at all. It's still, they're still using Linux on Azure. So if anything, it helps because it means that people who make .NET software don't have an excuse to not work on Linux anymore. So like, that's
so you mean
good.
Somebody's going to go in a big giant community and get everyone together to write software that I can use, and then I can sell support packages for it, and I never have to write a line of code?
You'd have to be careful with the
It's
licensing.
called Linux.
Colin, what's going on, man?
How you going, guys?
I see you finally made it.
Colin, what's going on?
Yeah, I jumped from Anaghost to Ubuntu, and I'm now on Ferrin OS, so that worked. So I think it was me. I put the whole link in instead of just the number. I think that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah,
well,
when you put it in the Zoom thing, the link is when you open the web browser, and the ID is when you open the application.
Oh, that's me then.
Exactly. Yeah, because
So
the link will
all those
just
operatings-
open XTG through the web browser. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I keep jumping from OS to OS, so I keep getting confused as to which way I did it last time.
So the big
know
news
why.
is,
What's the big
news?
The big
news is Das Geek is an XFCE convert.
Oh
That's
my
right,
gosh,
man.
Yeah, Das. How's your tweaking going?
Our special guest this week, didn't he say something about XFCE?
No,
Rocco?
no,
And
I
I'm
don't
pretty
recall.
Sure he's smarter
I don't.
than all of us.
I don't recall that. I do recall him saying that he likes GNOME.
Likes
I do recall
GNOME
him
and loves XFCE too.
I do recall him saying that.
Something about love, I thought.
No, he didn't say love. He said he has used it.
Well, go back to the video. We'll
go to the tape.
We'll go to the tape.
It hasn't been distributed yet, so I can see some editing coming along here.
I might have to edit that XFCE part out.
It'll be XFCE.
You know, it's interesting because I didn't expect to like XFCE. I really, when I was doing it, I thought I'm going to do a video review on this, and I'm not going to like it because I've always enjoyed the prepackaged. Here you go, everything's kind of set up for you, and you don't have to. And then I can get right in my program. But I just started messing with it, and then I'm like, wow, I want this here, and I want that there, and this would make this easier to get to. And everything was just so easy to figure out how to modify it, and I didn't break it, which is shocking when I'm modifying things. So yeah, I'm still on it on both of my machines, and I really like it. I mean, I'm not saying it's the greatest, but I think it's pretty amazing.
The tweakability on XFCE is quite good. I quite like it. The only thing I find with XFCE as a problem is screen tearing, but that's easily fixed with Compton. But then you can't use the native shadows and all that sort of thing with the desktop because Compton takes over. So that's what I find is a bit. It's sort of you can have one or the other, isn't it? Am I right there or am I wrong now? I don't know.
Well, I had some of the tearing you're talking about, and what did I do? Somebody suggested in my videos to turn the force compositioning on pipe composition on NVIDIA drivers to get rid of it.
Which is so easy to do now. You just open up the settings, go to advanced, and tick a box.
Yep. So, I mean, I didn't try that. I just turned off the CompBiz settings under Windows tweaks, I think it was. Windows Manager tweaks. There is an option in there. You can just, under the compositor, enable display compositing. As soon as I turned that off, all of it went away. But yes, you don't get the shadows and things when you do that. For instance, like on the dock. The dock is the only thing I've noticed compositing having an impact on. Like Cairo dock will have a black bar kind of around it when you don't have that compositing on. And it tells you, Cairo has that built in, like, hey, turn on compositing and the black bar will go away. But I just switched to Docky and haven't had the problem. So
Compton is the closest native. Compton is the closest native to XFCE, and it's a nice little file that's it's a compton.conf that you put in the .config folder, and I got that from Don't Call Me Lenny, and you put that in, screen tearing is absolutely gone, just running Compton. So, and I use that every time.
That's a great recommendation.
It works perfectly.
And what is it, Colin?
It's a compton.conf little file, and it's got a huge script in it, and it's, I don't know how long it is, but all you do is copy that file into the .config folder, and then you set it in the auto start as Compton-D, I think it is, space-D, and it auto starts, and then you won't have screen tearing at all on XFCE.
Well, so do you have a link for this or what?
No, I don't, but I could probably put it. What's the best place to put a link in? What am I? Google.
The Telegram group, probably.
I could put in Google or something like that.
Do you have Telegram, Colin?
No, I haven't used it.
The one thing I'll say about the screen
email it to me, Colin, and I'll put it up.
All right. Yep, sure.
It only existed for me in web pages where I could see it with white backgrounds. So it's not like when I was recording videos or anything, there was no screen tearing issues. When I was playing games, there was no screen tearing issues. It only seemed to impact web interfaces, which was odd, whether it was Firefox or Chromium.
This is off the ArchWiki, but good information on it. I use Compton as my compositor in Awesome, so I'm familiar with it.
Compton I think is the best compositor for lightweight distress.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I like it, because it's lightweight, so it works nice.
I find the GNOME desktop now is just killing the screen tearing. Now, every GNOME desktop I use seems to be all screen tearing's gone.
Yeah, GNOME has really impressed me.
Yep.
Absolutely. I've been using it on Solus, and it's so speedy, it's snappy.
Yep.
Ryan, do you hear this?
I say it outperforms KDE now.
Whoa.
It outperforms KDE now.
Man, them are fighting words right there, right?
Hey,
you don't come into this chat and never put down KDE.
I'll be honest with you.
I love KDE. I love KDE.
There you go.
I really do. But right now, GNOME's winning.
That is the one thing that I have with
That's your
Manjaro GNOME.
perspective of your preference. That's fine, but that's not a winning or not winning.
This is the one.
I consider it winning because you can tweak it without breaking it.
Yeah, until it updates and then it broke it.
I was gonna say until
that sounds
what
like
extent
KDE.
break.
That sounds like
that doesn't
KDE.
happen
I
on
don't
Matt.
use
I've updated the same install for a year and a half. Nothing breaks. Don't.
Matt, I liked it when you had audio problems. Okay.
I've had issues with KDE.
I liked it when you had audio issues.
You didn't need to interject here, man.
Like or whatever, but just say straight up that it's winning because of your particular experience. Like, nah, let's not go there.
If we're gonna go to that route, then you could say Unity won for certain people if you're going by workflow. I mean, jeez.
Or by the amount of people who use it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because it's still, even though it's being abandoned, it's still the most used.
Yeah.
How is that ridiculous? That is ridiculous.
Why?
It's the most popular.
The most
distro.
used, and it's being
That's
abandoned.
why it's the most used.
That's like, I don't understand.
Based upon what?
Something's
statistics?
backwards about that.
Planned obsolescence.
Actually, it makes total sense if Ubuntu is still being very commonly used.
The LTS is like 20 times more used than the point releases. They just did. This was a conversation that Ike and the guys had at on their late night lineup.
That's actually a quote from Mark.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I mean,
20 times more used was stats that Shuttleworth gave during the Ubuntu rally in New York.
Yeah. So it's like, that's just what it is. So 1604 is the current LTS, so it's going to be 20 times more used.
So what is the most popular use case for Ubuntu? Like Unity, like it's got the biggest whatever. You're saying it's used by the most. What is the most popular?
It's the out-of-the-box distro, and it's also like the workhorse workstation distro.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is who's using it? Like what use case is using it the most? Like colleges, like
people who just download it and turn it on.
There's no way to give you an answer of like what. We can't even tell you how many they're using. We can't even tell you how many what each distro is using and what their metrics are. It's all like in the ether. We have nothing to tell you, so we definitely can't narrow it down to like what sector at all.
Well,
so we can take an estimate of enterprise will take that distro as the standard and then push it out to all of their employees and all of their workstations. So that's probably where it's mostly used, but that's a guess.
That's probably the most likely, because even though, I mean, again, personal opinion and experience, I've always thought Mint was the better. I notice on all the stuff, even, I think it's a better out-of-the-box experience in terms of why. I think it's a better out-of-the-box experience, but I have always found it to be at least a little faster on the boot up. I haven't had as many issues with breakage. Cinnamon I did have issues with for a long time until actually it was this year where they finally got better with Cinnamon. But prior to that, I just preferred Mate. But I don't know. I notice Ubuntu is still very commonly referenced in a lot of trainings and a lot of reference material. So it is very likely that companies who chose to embrace this and just decided this is going to be the standard and pushed it out to all their employees, yeah, it's totally likely because it's more promoted. It is the most promoted in terms of.
You can guarantee. I can absolutely without any doubt say that Ubuntu has the most usage of all distros, and take Ubuntu, all distros, combine them all, Ubuntu still wins.
Yep.
Because are you taking just core Ubuntu?
No. Yeah, just Ubuntu itself with Unity.
Okay.
That's it. Just Ubuntu Unity. Everything else, combine it together, Ubuntu.
Yeah, but DistroWatch was always the argument. Such a loaded crap in numbers.
Yeah, I don't totally trust the DistroWatch numbers.
Well, I totally trust DistroWatch all the time. That's where I get all my stats.
Randomness, so.
That's about as good.
You look at the thing that has Mint so high on the thing, and you're going like, so how do you detect it? Is it user agent or is it like the LSB release in the distro? Like, how do you detect?
Probably the number of clicks on.
Yeah,
but if you say it's user agent or LSB, look inside of what Mint says. Their user agent is Ubuntu. Their LSB release is Ubuntu. They don't change it.
I believe
so, like, how do you know it's Mint anyway?
They have Xennial still as their base archive repository, on top of all the others.
No, that has nothing to do with this. DistroWatch just can't look at that.
And why do they split the Ubuntu's up?
Ubuntu base.
Yeah, why do they split Ubuntu? Why is Kubuntu and Ubuntu different? And why is Mint, KDE, and Mint Mate and Mint Cinnamon they're all combined into one?
Into one Mint. You combine all the Ubuntu's, and I'm sure that would beat it.
Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, and if you're looking at actual numbers, Ubuntu wins anyway. But like these are because most of the time, most of the people who are using Ubuntu are people who don't care and are not going to DistroWatch. So
they're not us, i.e.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or they're at workstations and don't even know the difference. Yeah. Like my mother uses Unity. She doesn't know what it is, and she doesn't care.
It's just a computer and it works.
I asked her one time, like, "Hey, how much do you open the dash?" And she was like, "What's
the dash?"
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, it's that little top button that's at the top of the screen." And
she never clicked it before.
She's She's like, "You click it, I guess. Like, I don't know. Whenever you're here."
Wow.
So, but that's how most people are with their computers. It's not just. That's why Unity would be the most used.
It's easy accessible, and you're good.
Yeah, they just want it to work. As long as they know where the browser is and how to get to stuff.
Right. That's why it's like people don't typically care. Like as long as it works and it doesn't break all the time, they don't really care.
Which is why they stay on Microsoft.
Like, well, I mean, it breaks anyway, but they just they pretend it is the application and not the OS. No matter what happens in Linux, it's Linux's fault. But anything happens in Microsoft's and Windows world, it ain't Windows' fault.
It's the OEM's fault.
Yeah. Or the software.
Screw you, Dale.
Like, it's usually the software's fault.
What's wrong with Dale? That probably happens. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm gonna take a bet at least once.
I'm gonna bet most
if not with Dell, at least one of the other companies. Like, what's wrong with HP?
Depending which version of HP you're going with. Are you going with
HP? Well, they overheat a little bit sometimes.
I'm personally not a fan of HP at all. I mean, but that's just.
Well, it's
I don't like Dell or HP, and just ignore all of those laptops that are all HP.
I'm just going to assume you were fixing those for somebody else. Those aren't yours.
So this one right here, that one's mine, and that one's mine. All of them are mine.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I used to do computer repairs, so it's like I had like puncher machines all the time, and sometimes I could fix them, sometimes I couldn't. If I couldn't, I was just like,
well, I mean, I took them over. They're mine now. To be technically speaking, some of these are from other people's. This one, the bottom of my brother, he ruined it, and I had to cannibalize it for other things. The other ones, but basically,
there's always parts that are still worth harvesting in those.
Oh
things.
Yeah,
right. So they're not all broken because of me, but I have taken ownership of them and still use them for ridiculous things.
Oh no, a KDE fan has joined.
Oh no.
Welcome, fellow Church of Neon user.
I know you're not talking about me.
No, Joe. You're talking about Scrap Joe there.
He's not even.
I don't think he can hear us yet.
No, I don't think so yet.
You talking about me? Or the other?
No, Scrap. Is he frozen?
No, he's not frozen. He just doesn't have his audio enabled right. because I don't show a little icon of his mic, so he must not be on the right audio.
Speaking of not working, I bought myself some nice cancellation headphone mic deal or whatever, Bluetooth, and good old Linux here won't recognize it.
What is that?
Oh, Hannah Montana again.
Oh my gosh, where's Ryan at? Ryan, where are you at, man?
Michael, we're gonna start to wonder about you.
What happened? What did I miss?
Wait, where you at?
What did I miss?
Show him, Michael.
It's the best
Show him.
part of the show.
I'm very dedicated to this
Oh my gosh, you're still using it? You're still? How long is this review gonna be? I realize it's the greatest thing you've ever seen. But
The real question is, when is the video actually gonna come out?
when is this mysterious video coming out?
Well, I mean, you have to thoroughly check things to make sure that everything that you do is embracing.
Michael,
He's clearly never seen my channel.
it's for
Okay, if you're Michael, then you have to do everything
Right.
Or
it's from 904. There's not a whole lot to tell.
Okay, so you know how I am with pixels, Ryan. That's how he is with videos.
Thanks to
I put mine out like the day after we talked about it. He's like in month 3.
Yeah, but then
finally
in your
figured
video,
it as a
you said-
full running Hannah Montana server.
But in your video, you said that you couldn't get it to boot on the machine, and I was like, "Well, challenge accepted."
So Ryan,
How old is that laptop?
I was gonna say, what he's telling you is he just one upped you on your own video.
Well, we'll see, because you know what's funny is I said in the video, I said Michael's gonna do a way more thorough review of this than you'll ever get from me. But man, did I not expect it to even go this far? That's incredible. I can't wait to see this thing, man.
Yeah,
I just want you to wear the wig.
So teaser.
Yeah, you said you couldn't get it installed on actual hardware. He found hardware old enough to support it.
Right?
No way. No. I already had.
He's rewritten the kernel and released it.
I went down to the flea market and made sure. I mean, it's actually not true, but
yeah, he went right to the back shelf. That's his flea market.
So to be fair, the reason it works so well on this laptop is because it's in the same era of the. So it's like a 2007, 2006, somewhere around there.
I was gonna say what.
Close.
What processor is that thing running? I'm curious.
Some kind.
It's a P4.
Celeron, Centrino.
I can tell you it's an Intel for sure. I have no idea.
Uh,
It might be a Core 2. I don't know.
I was gonna say from looking
Core
at
2
it,
sounds about right.
I was gonna say from looking at it, it looks like it's a Dell D630 probably.
I was gonna say 610.
That's-
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's a what? What do you say, Chip?
I think it's like a 610. A D610 is what it looks like to me, or 620.
Yeah, we're close, but no. It's a D520.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Y'all were very close. That's how I was giving. I just wanted to point it out. Like, good job, y'all were very close.
It is an Intel Core 2 Duo.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's got 2 gigs of RAM. Powerhouse.
Hey, that was a lot. Hey, that was a lot back then for a laptop.
It was a powerhouse back then.
It was. That was a lot back then for a laptop.
And just so you know, I'm gonna have it like sitting here.
I've got a
Just
link, Rocco, if you want.
enjoy the background.
Yeah, send it to me an email, dude. I'll put it up.
By email. Okay, yeah.
That is so just to taunt you, Ryan.
Michael, can you give us just a little snippet preview of the distribution? 1 out of 10, what would you rate it? I mean, what is it going to conclude?
Oh boy.
Now, bearing in mind we're finishing in 30 minutes, so
Yeah,
come on, Michael.
no.
I was straight 10 out of 10. I mean, greatest distribution ever.
No.
It's going to give it a 2 or 3.
Never. I would never do that. Because when you listen to the Miley Cyrus and Hannah Montana, you crank it up to 11.
Can we clip that, Rocco, and have that?
I think we're gonna clip that, put that as an intro to something.
I would like to put a disclaimer before that, so make sure that this is part in the clip. Everything I just said is true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my.
So, as part of the video editing, you can have a wrecking ball come in and swing and then have the screen shatter.
I told him, I told Michael that he should have that as his transitions from clip to clip in the video, a wrecking ball transition.
To meet him on a wrecking ball. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Someone went full screen on us.
Not me.
Yeah, how do I?
Yeah,
He's got videos and stuff to work on that. I am
he's
so
sharing
impressed.
his screen.
Nice.
There we
21
go.
by 9.
The way
21 by 9 club, yeah.
this is
Welcome, Scrap.
so basically all I need to do is get a string and attach it to this.
Is that the rocket ball?
So, Scrap, you were gonna somehow defend KDE, I think.
No, I just heard the shade on it and I was like, I gotta show up.
I was gonna say, Scrap. There's plenty of shade to give over to GNOME anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Look, stop picking on GNOME. GNOME works pretty darn good.
Got a pretty good footprint. So
Rocco will straight up ban you for that.
Hey, I bashed on GNOME a lot when it first came out, and even for years after.
Hey, it's better than using XFCE like certain other people are right now.
Yeah, right? I know. Look, I'm not saying GNOME is perfect, but for me, you know, like you hear all these. Okay, for example, Michael, you said about KDE, you know, you hear people say it breaks, yet you've been using it for a year and you haven't broke it. Okay.
I mean,
well, I have a different. I have a different experience in that.
Install without hopping.
Right. Well, I have a different experience in that area. So I used KDE for the longest time, didn't have no issues with it, no problems. And then the last couple times I've tried to install it and use it, it's been just really bad. Okay? And it actually flips back to GNOME, where before I did have issues with GNOME, and now I don't. Now I've installed it and it runs perfect. And I don't have any issues. It's not breaking. It's not causing any issues. Like, that's why I'm running it right now.
To be fair, it's had 7 years of doing it. Finally took them forever.
That I will. I will.
Well, if it took them that long, that's great. But it's working right now. So.
Which platform are you on, Rocco? Which platform?
Manjaro GNOME.
Oh, Manjaro. That's right. Yeah.
I'm glad you're calling it GNOME, Marco, because you'd have English Bob in here ripping you a new one. He was on a video.
Yeah.
Talking about that.
I'm just
we've already
fixed the sluggishness.
Yeah,
with,
I know that.
That was always my biggest issue with it before, is it just gets sluggish.
Yeah, well, it runs. Okay, so for KDE, I don't know about anybody else, but for my specific hardware, I would run on average about 1.5 gigs of memory. I run the same on GNOME. So other people will run it like people will say, "Oh, I run Neon and I can do idle at 600 megs or whatever." Yeah, that idle maybe when I first boot up, but if I start any program or do anything, I'm going to hop over, you know, a gig of RAM. It's going to be 1 to 1.5, just the way it is.
The web browser will do that.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so like GNOME is the same exact way. So neither of them, you know, beats the other one as far as speed's concerned or usage, I should say.
Mine runs about 1.2, Rocco, when I run it.
Yep.
All of these memory figures are so distro dependent and your hardware dependency. I mean, everybody says XFCE is a light desktop. You run Makulu Flash and you won't run less than 1.5 gig because he's put bits and pieces in there to make it snappier. He's loaded up the cache so that everything runs quickly. Now, I've got other XFCE that load up at 458. So it's just so distro dependent. And I see people doing VM, you know, virtual machine, and they've got distros that are opening up at 250 meg. I mean, it's never going to happen on my i7, purely and simply because it looks at it, it says, here we go, 32 gig of memory, I'm going to use it.
That's what I've got, 32. And you don't have to worry
I'm
about
at
it.
16.
If you've got a little 2 gig machine, it will only use 400 meg.
Yep. Well, what do you run, Scrap? What do you run as far as memory?
It's a DDR3, 16 gigs, 2400.
And how much is it using? Oh, on average.
Right now I'm at 2.1.
Yeah.
And I have a web browser with 2 tabs and this, and then also in the background I run like Cadence and Carla, all the audio stuff in the background, but it's like nothing. But I have an
Right.
i7 4790K also, so CPU is not an issue either.
Well, Zeb was exactly right, because I'll run it at 1.5, and yet I'll have so many people comment on my video. Oh, I run the same distro at 800 megs. It never goes over 800. I'm like, there's just no way that would ever happen for me. Just no way. So
yeah, I'm running 1.8 right now, just with this open, Firefox, and a couple terminals.
right.
Well, you can have all the memory in the world if you've got internet like Australia Communications. It doesn't matter how much you've got.
Actually, if I look at where it says just plasma shell under my process table, it's 200K, 200,000.
Right.
So
Well, either way, it is dependent on what you're running for hardware.
Yep.
what's your
Like
hardware?
everything.
My hardware is an i7 2600 and 16 gigabytes of RAM. So, regardless, I've never run under, I think, one distribution, and I can't remember if that was K-Revenge or one of them. It was like 700 megs, and it stayed there, and it stayed under 1 gigabyte. Other than that, I've never run any KDE that was under 1.2 or 1.3. It's always been around between 1.3 and 1.5.
I just went from 4.9 or 4.9 to 2.89 just by closing Chrome.
Yeah.
That says it right there.
Yeah.
So I've had 16 gigs.
Where's the ban button at?
And I've got i7 4770K.
Oh no, I'm using only about 2.2 gig
Yeah.
Yep.
with an
Well,
i7.
But what are you running? Ubuntu Mate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have Firefox open, this, and just the system monitor. I don't think I have anything else really going. Nope.
And I'm running XFCE with 3.0 gig because I've got this, Telegram, and a couple of Chromes open. But then I've been doing other bits and pieces all night long, and it just never gives it back. It doesn't let it go.
No.
It doesn't appear to.
Brad wants to know if anyone has tried the new Ryzen CPUs.
I have not.
Level 1 techs have a lot of really cool stuff. Wendell has been apparently he has a Ryzen 5 system with one of the new RX GPUs running faster than a 1080 Ti, which is
talk about a tech guru, dude. Oh my gosh, he's like a genius.
But those guys are he's like, we're on the bleeding edge, and we have so much code that's committed that is like pieced together and esoteric in the way it's like not plug and play for everybody else yet. So when it does come down the pipeline, like I use the Padoka PPA for Mesa to get the latest Mesa drivers, and it runs fine. It actually fixed some of my little hiccups I was having with stuttering. And I don't even run AMD. I'm on Intel and NVIDIA.
Yeah,
But,
same.
yeah.
Have you got a link for that tech site you was on about?
Level 1, the number 1, Techs, TECH.
He used to be part of Tech Syndicate.
Yeah.
And they kind of
Lovely, got it. Thank you.
It's a shame that they split because they were really good together.
Yeah. At least on the surface.
Yeah, on the surface. I mean, what I'm saying is I enjoyed their videos.
Yeah, they were good. They were good.
I actually hated every time that Logan spoke.
Really?
Oh, don't listen to him now then if you couldn't stand him then.
Oh, I definitely don't.
No, I enjoy the videos.
And he would be ridiculous. Like, it wasn't like he would be like, Wendell would say stuff based on knowledge and Logan would say stuff based on rhetoric.
Yep.
So it was very annoying.
Yeah, his politics were very polarized to one side without a lot of substance.
Right. They made a separate channel for Linux. The first video they decided to make was, why is the Linux community so hostile?
It's like Like there isn't already a Linux sucks video every other year.
Well, there isn't anymore, but yeah, like
yeah, that was the last one.
But like it's not that they wanted to do that. Like you can pick out things that are stupid. Like you could say certain subsections of the Linux community are hostile. They do exist. What he decided to use as an example proved that he is an idiot. 4chan. Look, what? Oh, that's Linux? Oh, okay, cool. It's not that the entire community itself of 4chan is a troll on purpose. That's your reference point of Linux being what?
Yep.
And then he was like, and also the YouTube community, the YouTube comments are like, again, YouTube comments are notorious for being horrible people. So
don't we know it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying. I mean, your commenters are fantastic people. I'm talking about in the overall scope of YouTube, but like it's just people like his complaint was so ridiculous that I wanted to like I couldn't facepalm myself hard enough for fear of knocking myself out.
Now, to be fair, there was a lot of instability in their company, as it were, with people and things and stuff that I wasn't a part of their community before it all went to level 1, because Wendell kind of with level 1 techs took the forums and that most of the people along with when they separated, but there was a lot of stuff that later came out and things, and I was like, okay, cool, whatever. You guys went and did your thing, and Wendell went and did their thing, and I guess Logan and Wendell are still like on the level, but there were a lot of people in the background that caused them a lot of problems, including in the community. So it was kind of funny how they were talking about Linux community being hostile when their own community was really hostile towards him.
Well, I mean, I was part of the community before it split. And Wendell's always a good dude. I never had a problem with him. But like, Logan would make complaints, and then you would give him the answer about his complaint. He would ignore you and continue to complain for 3 weeks. Like, and then also I had people who would respond to me on the forum saying that's exactly what I told him a year ago. And I was like, oh, so he doesn't actually care what anyone says to him. Got it. So it wasn't even about that. Like, and as far as why they split, it's Logan's fault for sure. If you want to know, look it up. I'm not going to go into it. But Wendell knows a lot of stuff, and I'm glad he split because he used to be a background guy, and now he's the forefront, and he does a lot of cool stuff now. Like that ridiculous build of a Threadripper inside of his desk.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
That standing desk is amazing.
It's absurd, and I want it
with the glass top, with a monitor underneath showing all of the running stats of the machine, and then they custom built a monitor mount for it, so that way it could rise up and down without all of it toppling and stuff. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I want it, but no, the amount of money spent on that computer is like $4,000 or $5,000, somewhere around there. He didn't say how much, but on the parts he said that were in it, it's gotta be. I was like, no. I'll take a $500 desk and just put a computer on top of it. Thank you.
But for $500, you can get an up and down desk.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Cool. Yeah, I did. It's a sit-stand desk. It has automation features, and it's fantastic.
I have
a desk that cost me $25 at the Reuse It store. It doesn't go up and down, but
there you go.
I have a stand-up, sit-down desk, but then it really sort of screws up the webcam afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, because I got 3 foot long.
So what you're saying is you need a stand-up, sit-down webcam.
No, I'm just sitting at a drafting table. It works perfectly.
See?
Yeah, you just need a webcam that can be mounted to your sit-stand desk for sure.
Oh, here we go. That's because he's turned on the webcam. Yeah. Bye.
Nice.
Where
did Michael
really
go?
been impressive is those three monitors. Those three monitors should have been showing Hannah Montana.
They should have been.
That would have been good.
Soon.
Oh, look.
Are you leaving, Barb?
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin pretty soon.
All right.
So-
Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Maybe
you're
next
welcome.
week.
Definitely. Okay, take care, everybody.
See you later.
ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Keep pimping.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
So if I had thought about I would have totally done that. So totally. Disappointed in myself now.
Rocco reminds me of your chance when I was holding up my phone in one of the podcast videos for you to overlay a Justin Bieber music player.
I so missed that opportunity too. Oh my god, I could kick myself for missing that.
I thought for sure when I opened after you edited it, I was just waiting for it. I like skipped to that part, like, oh, I can't wait to see what he put here.
No, there was a lot of editing going on in that episode, and I didn't have I was like in my serious mode, you know what I mean? So I wasn't in the prankster mode. So what are you gonna do?
It must be next week.
Oh, he always puts some little hidden golden egg in there for me somewhere.
A little Easter egg.
I like the outtakes though, because he doesn't tell me when he's recording. So some of these outtakes are surprising to me as they are you guys. Because we'll just be talking and generally we have like 45 minutes ahead of the podcast, you know, that we're just talking and laughing about random dumb things, and unbeknownst to me he's recording and he'll take a little snippet of it and it'll show up. It's so awesome. I love finding those.
So Rocco, are you on your GNOME desktop on Manjaro on 3.26 yet, or still on the old one?
It is on 3.26.
Okay.
And it's working perfectly. And the update did not break GNOME. Imagine that. Huh.
You know what was really unique is me and Rocco
fix it.
Me and Rocco logging in today to do our podcast, and all of our equipment on both sides worked. It's like a first.
It'll just take GNOME 7 years to actually put back features in that they took out originally.
Still waiting on one of them.
Well, yeah. Now that you mentioned that, it'd be yeah. If Ubuntu really want to their desktop, they should put the HUD back in, because that would just top it off, I reckon.
I don't know. Did I hear Matt earlier? I think his audio was breaking up. I don't know if I mean, there's a lot of people. Okay, so Unity is really popular. Okay, and it seems like GNOME is gaining in popularity from people who have not used GNOME, but people who have used GNOME or have used Unity are kind of like, just a general feel. I have no like stats to back this up, but just a general feel that it feels like a lot of people are backing away from GNOME. And I don't know if putting a HUD in or anything like that would be, if that would do anything. I think it would be, I don't know. I just don't think it would be a good idea.
No, I'm talking Ubuntu only though. I'm talking the Ubuntu one.
Well, either way.
Yeah, well, they've done they've tweaked their own dock at the moment. So you know, it's possible they might put the HUD back in. Well, Mate has it. So if it's that popular, why wouldn't Ubuntu put it in as well?
Because GNOME.
Yeah, because of GNOME, I guess, yeah.
Because GNOME is designed in a specific way that in order to make a HUD feature, you have to rebuild the shell, which is what they did the first time.
Right, okay.
So you have to make your own shell, which defeats the point of using GNOME in the first place.
You can't use, what about an extension?
GNOME is not, there's no APIs to make the HUD work.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Extension or otherwise, no. You have to just completely replace the shell and make your own.
But yep, fair enough.
So that will pretty much, the HUD is dead.
The HUD is dead.
Could be made, but it's pretty much dead too, because the people who were making it were saying it's not working and the APIs are not working together and it's just not worth the effort, and they don't care to continue because they don't even want to. People were requesting them make it, and they took the opportunity to make it, but they're like, well, we're not even using it. It's not even that. It's going to take so long to make it work, and it's going to have to be rewritten in so many ways. Never mind. And that's also a continuous thing happening with their extensions because, let's break APIs because that's something.
Yeah.
And it'll break again when GTK4 finally, whenever they decide to finally release that or debut it. I know it's in the works.
It's a guaranteed break, yeah.
What all extensions talking about? Extensions will break once you go to GTK4, is it? Is that what you're saying?
You can guarantee it. There's not a break point of GTK. It's not extensions that are going to break. I mean, they will. That's not the problem. All GTK themes will break. Pretty much everything that is GTK3 now will break when 4 comes out.
Yep.
So essentially, it's a hard stop break of, how we spent 7 years to finally stop breaking stuff. Let's break everything.
They basically spent 7 years figuring out that, this design isn't probably the best way to do this. And yeah, GTK4, like you said, it's going to break stuff because there was an interview with one of the GNOME 3 developers who mentioned they're basically rewriting the entire framework. So yeah, breakage guaranteed.
That was their plan too. No,
the question is
to do it on the full.
The question is breaking it worthwhile moving forward? That's the big question, isn't it? Is it going to be?
They think it is because it's going to be more efficient. But that's what they said about GNOME. Sorry, not GNOME, GTK3. So we'll see. The jury's still out on that one.
When they say efficient, they mean we're going to remove stuff that you like.
because they couldn't make it work with on it.
Well, to be fair, GNOME is kind of like Microsoft-ish in that sense, where they just remove stuff and they don't really care.
Microsoft makes stupid decisions and then go, "Oh, don't hate us, we'll bring it back," and they bring it back. GNOME's like, "We don't care what you think."
I'm just talking the generalized mindset of we're just going to remove this because we don't, you don't need it.
Wouldn't it be more like Apple, where
it's more like
they went from having the traditional bar at the bottom of your little screen, and then they flipped everything upside down.
And people are like,
well, it might be like Apple, but I've never owned a Mac, so I don't know. I never have run an
this would be
iOS or anything.
Basically,
so,
whenever time Apple changes something, people used to complain. Now they just pretend that it's innovative and genius, and magical. Even though it was made 3 years ago by something else, like, oh, it's magical.
Yep.
Like
what
having
is that?
A port.
So there you go,
like
Rocco.
having my port on my phone.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you need
That's
to take,
ridiculous. Who wants
Magical.
Who wants a headphone jack?
Yeah, right. Whoever would use a headphone jack?
Well, apparently Google's the same
for that. Who would want to do it? Who wants to have the convenience of a like headphones when you could spend $150 and get these Bluetooth things that break all the time?
Well, that's a great idea.
Plus another $50 for the dongle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or the earbuds that fall out as you're running.
You can't forget the dongle lifestyle. Because that's just what it is now.
It's dongle or go home.
Exactly.
No, it's raise your dongles. Right?
Raise your.
But
And there's Tom.
That was an LTT ref.
So GNOME is a situation where they're already breaking things. And they announced they're breaking this stuff a while ago. They don't care. People are eventually figuring it out. They're breaking stuff. Like the whole, the top icons thing. I've been saying that the top icon is going to die for about 2 months now, because they announced it in their Git blog that they were going to get rid of the API. So as soon as they did that, I was like, "Yep, that extension is dead." And
Yeah, but let me ask you a question about that. So they're talking about K status notifier. Okay.
Which doesn't use that API.
Which doesn't use that API, but not all of the programs work with that.
Correct.
Like not all the programs, you don't have an icon. So what's the point of switching to K-Status Notifier if it's not going to work?
Accurate. The name of the extension is K-Status Notifier / App Indicator. Make sure that everybody knows the branding and marketing of these projects.
Yeah.
So really, it's an app indicator thing. So they're going to try to make it so that all things that use system tray stuff would be using app indicators, which is kind of a normal thing. It's a commonality now anyway. Most system tray things use app indicators because Unity built app indicators.
Is it dependent on the programs themselves to make it work, or is it dependent on GNOME to make it work?
It's the programs themselves to support app indicators, because that K-Status Notifier / App Indicator is the integration tool to make app indicator protocol and logic work with the GNOME shell, environment.
Yep, gives you that beautiful little integration so that when your program does something, it can notify you.
Yeah.
So it's just like, as far as like when they said they were going to, people were like shocked. But when I was funny because I've been saying that top icons is gonna die, and I've been saying that for a while. And then they come out and actually announce it before it even happens. Like, yeah, we're gonna stop working on this because it's a waste of time because it's going to die.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at their Git log, so I didn't realize that was coming.
Well, I was gonna say, because Michael, I remember sending you something on Telegram about it, and I was like, and your response was, "Oh, that was quicker than I thought it was gonna be."
Yeah, I called it when I saw the log in the Git, I was like, yeah, I can guarantee you GTK4 will kill it, but maybe they didn't know about it until they finally realized that it's basically a waste of time because it's not worth. You can't work on it because everything that your extension relies on is being destroyed on purpose, and their response to you saying, "Why are you getting rid of it?" is like, because it's antiquated and we don't like it.
How far back did you see that notice in their log? Just out of curiosity.
Like 3 months ago.
3 months ago. I think that was, yeah, they had to have known about it because that was after the interview with that one developer who said, "Oh yeah, we're rewriting the whole framework." So yeah, they had to have known.
Well, I mean, they just announced recently that they're not going to do it because it's way too much work.
Oh,
and also
really?
because the GTK4 API is not even finished yet. So they don't even know if it's possible. And because the K-Status Notifier / App Indicator project it came out, it kind of is like a stopgap between that breaking and what you can currently use.
Now, that was one thing I did notice, is that they didn't actually have a time frame on when they're expecting to push this out. It's just that it's in the works.
I mean, GTK4 has here's the thing with GTK4. They don't expect you to use it for a while. With GTK3, they screwed up horribly. They were like, "Hey, we're going to get rid of GNOME 2 and GTK2, and we're just going to kill it right now." But, what was GTK3 ready and GNOME 3 ready? No.
Yeah, I lost my confidence in them for a long time when they did that.
Yeah, I lost it it's still lost. I happily threw it away at this point.
I don't blame you.
So are you saying that... Go ahead,
Any
Colin.
themes on... any themes on GNOME Look that you download and install and run on GNOME will probably not work with GTK4, so you're going to have to wait for all of them to catch up again as well. Is that right? Would that be correct?
Sort of.
More than likely, yes.
First, okay, here's how it works. The GTK3 stack is not going away this time. They realized way too late that they screwed up, and they decided to not fix it until after, a decade, basically. But GTK3 is not going away. It's turning into an LTS. So GTK4 is becoming their development branch, so that all distros that use GTK would likely stay with GTK3. I know for a fact that Mate and everything based on Monte is going to continue with GTK3. XFCE more than likely will continue with GTK3. And
well, of course they would, because it would take 10 years for them to switch
it would
over.
take them another 10 years. Exactly.
I was gonna say if XFCE ever gets to GTK3 at this point.
Well, 4.14 is going to come out with GTK3, 2014.
Yeah.
So on that, actually, and I hadn't realized how much time it actually passed. KDE actually got Plasma working a lot quicker than GNOME got GNOME 3 working.
It took,
at least to my satisfaction.
Only like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And they also, during the time, they were saying, hey, don't use it. You know why? Because KDE 4 is still usable. It's still being maintained. We're not dropping it. We're not ridiculous. So, keep using it if you want to. But, get ready for 5. It's coming. And then it comes out with 5.5 was probably the first version that was actually like fully ready to go. But they never said it was ready to go. They waited till 5.8 to say that.
I'm just glad, as far as KDE is concerned, though, I'm glad that we didn't get what happened.
All I heard was like a.
I said I'm glad we didn't get what we got when we went from KDE 3 to 4.
Oh yeah, they kind of learned. They learned their lesson, and like they learned their lesson. Like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and their transition was a lot more clean from 3 to 4. It was just the features that people wanted were not there in 4 yet. And when 4 to 5
which makes
happened,
it not clean.
Well, I mean, it's not dirty. It's just.
Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is 3 to 4 was pretty bad in the sense that what you wanted to use, you couldn't.
Well, the problem is that they also didn't deprecate 3 at the time either. They didn't just like straight up kill it. They were like, they transitioned faster than they should have, whereas they learned their lesson this time and they transitioned when it was ready. So you can still use 4 now. There are certain aspects of it that are still maintained, but some of it isn't. So they're like, all of the work that's in the KDE base structure, they were like, there's no reason to keep this going in 4. So once 5 came out to the LTS, they were like, yeah, let's just drop it and go to 5. And that's a perfectly reasonable thing. It's like, hey, we have an LTS, it's ready to go. We can stop working on this other thing. Rather than, hey, we have an LTS 7 years after we abandoned this other thing. Perfect. Great idea.
Yeah, well, like I said, 3.3 going from 3 to 4 was bad. For general use, it was pretty bad.
Well, a lot of the problem with the 3 to 4 transition was you had certain distributions pumping out 4 into user land before it was ready.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking at you, SUSE, specifically. So, and that was a lot of the problem. And like Mike said, the transition was cleaner than GTK 2 to 3 and GNOME 2 to 3, which was...
It's cleaner, but it's not squeaky.
No.
Right.
I'll give you that for sure. Like it was a little... It's the 3 to 4 actually annoyed people enough where people made... Well, actually, you could say the same thing about GTK 2. Anyway, what I was going to say is that the 3 to 4 transition annoyed people enough where Trinity became a thing. And what's funny is that GNOME took so long to get good. Mate has now become a competitor at the same level of people's interest and desire to use it.
Now that
More so maybe. Has anybody ever here? Do you remember Trinity existed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I vaguely.
I've used that on Q4.
I'll tell you that's like 3 out of most people. That's not a high number.
The Q4 OS is quite good as a distro.
What?
Yeah, that's right up on DistroWatch too, that one. Must be a lot of
Q4
interest.
OS?
Yeah, Q4 OS still runs Trinity.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, sure.
Tom, what's going on tonight, man? Hold on. Your audio, you can't hear you, brother.
Microphone needs to be put down lower.
No, he's not. You're not muted. We just can't hear you. Maybe the wrong sound option selected or something.
Yeah. Click the arrow next to the mute in the lower left corner.
Hey, Chip, next week you don't have to, wait to join us. You can join us right away, dude.
All right. Hope I don't forget.
So, did you know there's a new email client out at the moment called MailSpring?
Really?
The fork of Nihilus?
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. I tried to install it, but it's asking for a sign up, so I stopped there at the moment. I might.
You do have to
Can you
sign
guys
up
hear me
for
now?
an account. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom.
Cool. I'm recovering to answer your question. I did an hour on the Linux channel and 2 hours on the other channel releasing the book.
Nice. live streaming craziness.
Yeah.
Well, just so you know,
my big news I got, I apparently came on YouTube's radar because they went through and demonetized a whole bunch of stuff, like technical reviews. What software packages did I use to write a book? Yeah, that's certainly advertiser unfriendly. So I get to do a clickbaity article tomorrow.
Yep.
Looks like we're all going to have to migrate somewhere.
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
Yep, I think once you cross that threshold where it's like they might actually start paying you every month, that's the point in time they want to start shutting off your monetization, because that's literally they just demonetized the last 4 videos I did and then about 20 other random ones or so, maybe 10 other random ones.
There's a weird.
Yeah, one of them I'm
are fine.
What's that?
The people who are like it's depending on how many views you get, whether you get totally screwed by this.
Yeah, and let me find my stats real quick.
There's like a certain level of views that if you don't reach this certain level, like YouTube just crushes you for no reason.
Yeah, I cannot even. They will not even review them until I cross 1,000 views on those videos. But those videos won't cross 1,000 until after about everybody's watched them. And it's the last 4 videos I did.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's the 1,000 number.
Yeah.
Is a thing that's kind of like messing with you, because it's not even 1,000. It's 1,000 in a week.
Yes, it's 1,000 in a week. Yes.
Yeah. So if you get 1,000 in 10 days, well, that didn't help you.
Yep.
Great. Thanks, buddies.
Yeah. So I got 2 of them are in the mid 600s. So they could, because those are the last 2 days worth.
Yeah, that's possible. If the thing is, if you get one to hit that threshold, and you dispute every single one of them, they typically check out all of them that are being disputed on your channel as long as one hits that level.
Well, that's good, because I imagine at least one of these is going to hit that threshold before the time. Yeah, I'm right on the. I'm right at. Let's see. I crossed 500,000 total channel views. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's just
You need to nick a few views from Ed Sheeran. Did anybody see the TOS video earlier?
No.
There's an Ed Sheeran song that's had 2.5 billion views, and it's made $1.4 million on monetization. Madness.
It's ridiculous.
Absolute madness. And that's just one of his videos. How much money is he making on all the rest?
Well, I mean, they probably don't pop that much. But
Well, who uploads an Ed Sheeran? Who's allowed to upload an Ed Sheeran song anyway?
Vivo.
Probably his
Vivo,
agency.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because they have
It's probably
licenses
just
for pretty much every
jamming,
artist. Somehow. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Magic. But the most annoying thing is the people who are making like these videos that are just super absurd, and they're getting like millions of views on those.
You talking about PewDiePie or PewDiePie or whatever his name is?
No.
PewDiePie.
PewDiePie. The history of PewDiePie getting his popularity is actually interesting, and he was purely lucky in what he did, and he had no intention of doing what he did. That's actually interesting, because it wasn't like his goal was not to do that, and the other people now, there's these couple channels that have come to like massive status within like 6 months, and they have millions of views. And there's this one. Here's the ridiculous aspect to how these videos. They made a fake fidget spinner out of cardboard and attached it to a truck wheel, and then go, fidget spinner on a truck. That's it.
That's huge. Isn't that worth watching?
3 million views.
Hey, don't you get your rocks off just watching something like that?
It's clearly innovative.
Right, and then the next one was like fidget spinner versus soda. And when I first saw, like, what does that even mean? Don't tell me you just dropped a fidget spinner into soda. Yeah, that's what.
I was gonna say, back in the '90s, wouldn't you call a fidget spinner on a truck dubs? I'm just saying.
It depends on if the fidget spinner is 22 inches or not.
And they gotta be chrome and on a Mercedes.
It's got flashing neon lights as well to go along with it.
Oh yeah, you gotta have those floor. We
need to make this stream. We got to make this stream pop. Okay. All right, guys. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna have a fidget spinner on a Linux live stream. Woo!
Here come the views.
Million right there.
Yeah, but we talked about it before. There's no viable alternative.
Scrap has decided to turn it into person spinning.
Yeah, I mean, not really, and that's why what I'm doing right now is I don't have another place I'm doing videos, but I'm really trying to draw people back to my own site, because as the more people I can get back to my own sites, if I do need to make a move, people know where I'm going to, Yeah.
Well, VidMe, I know that the Linux Gamer is kind of like not moving from YouTube, but doing more push for vid.me. And we talked about, a week or two ago, about 2 other services. Mm-hmm. And I signed up for them, and I can't even remember what they are.
I have a list around here somewhere of ones to check into. I have just so many piles of lists of things to do, because
what was it, Michael?
Unfortunately, I get so much stuff to look into, but I unfortunately still have to work full time too. So
yeah, DTube, that's what it was. Yeah, but there was another one too. There was a second one we were going to check out, and I made accounts for both of them, and then I completely forgot what they were. So
there's Library, VidMe, Reddit's doing things like Library, I think.
It's
LBRY.
Yeah, LBRY. I saw a thing about that. That guy took all those videos that got taken down from, I think, Berkeley, because they weren't closed captioned or whatever, because of some federal government thing for accessible people. He had a backup of those, and it uses blockchain somehow to preserve them. So it's decentralized. Just kind of cool.
And what was the other one? What was DTube, and there was another one.
BitChute, is it? BitChute?
BitChute, yeah, okay.
BitChute. What? Now, what about I saw Reddit, and you can now post videos, maybe just MP4s. Is that true?
No, you can post videos, but you can't upload like giant long videos. It's like snippets and stuff.
Sure. Okay.
It's like you can upload a video to like Imager. Same thing. It's like certain amount of time limit kind of thing.
And is BitTube the blockchain one?
No, that's the BitTorrent.
That's the LBRY.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, it has nothing to do with YouTube videos or anything, but I did see Discord come out with an update for adding video conferencing,
which is cool.
Is that out for everybody now?
Yeah, Discord's on my list to look at.
It's rolling out to most people now, but I don't think it's out for everybody.
Because I know anyone that's on their premium subscription right now gets it.
Yeah,
like Nitro or something.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between Vid? I signed up to vid.me to follow EB, but I haven't really been back there since. But what's the difference between that and YouTube? It's just the exposure, or it's not as easy in some ways, or does anyone know the difference between these alternatives as opposed to YouTube.
The biggest difference is they don't have the user base. They don't have the notoriety from people. When you want a video, you don't go to vid.me, you go to YouTube. It's just a household name, and that's where all the user base. Well, your example shows exactly why it's like that, because you signed up. Yeah, you signed up to watch EB's videos, and you haven't been back since.
No,
that's exactly the
that's
problem
true.
with vid.me.
Yep.
And also, isn't vid.me limited to just 30 minutes until you get X number of subscribers or something?
Yep.
Yeah,
Whereas
you got to get
YouTube, straight off
verified
the
or
bat.
something like that. I forget how it is, but to
You gotta
get verified, you have to have
like 1,000 followers or something before that happens or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But if a lot of people start moving to there, then I would move to there and watch like I do on YouTube.
Well, if a lot of people move to Daily Motion or any of the other 9 million video hosting sites, we would be not where we are with YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's more just getting people to go there and use it. It has nothing to do with the service being worse or better, or because people creators might even put up with less options
for more freedom.
For more freedom, and if they didn't have to worry about their videos taken down or demonetized or anything.
You know, I think from my perspective, because I mean, I'm legitimately doing this to. And I've not been secret about it. I'm legitimately doing this as an alternative business. You know, what I do for my full-time day job as a freelancer is a dying field. It's not going to probably die soon or immediately, but it's a dying field, you know, in web design, because we have too much competition from, you know, third world developers. We have too much competition from sites like Wix and all these other things. And, you know, there's always going to be a number of people that want to hire a guy like me who knows what I'm doing, but the pool is getting smaller. And I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to do this type of stuff and make money at it. So I'm not, you know, ashamed of that at all. And so for me, I like to see that there's other alternatives, other ways to make money that are not just on YouTube ad revenue, you know, whether that's sponsorships or whether that's, you know, selling books or Patreon or whatever else, you know, so.
I've seen a lot of.
You guys talk about DTube before too?
Yeah, that was one of the ones we just mentioned. Yeah, about the alternatives.
Yeah, I didn't hear you say that. Sorry, because I know there was another one at The Verge. There's still another one I think that we talked about. That
BitChute.
Is DTube the one that uses? Yeah, is DTube the one that uses torrents?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that was a bit one, was it?
BitChute.
All right.
So as a fellow web designer, to make that claim that the industry is dying, I agree.
See, that's good. I didn't really want to debate with you on that.
Riveting, Michael. Just riveting.
Scrap, what were you going to say, man?
I forget. It's good.
Dig it.
He was about to say, Michael, what is that shirt behind you? And I was going to say, it's the Linux is Everywhere t-shirt.
I need that.
And you can get yours at
teespring.com/ wait, that's the really weird one. Linux is everywhere. Enjoy.
Is that a legit site? Or?
It's hard to see.
That's a legitimate plug from him.
Is that a Wu-Tang playing symbol?
Just remember, you got your final word early now, Michael.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that can't be your final word now.
I did have one of my viewers sent me a Linux Mint shirt. Very cool. It's actually it's too small for me, but the kid that I mentor said he wants it. So
nice.
Very happy to get that in. It's really cool. Very thankful for that.
Nice.
Well,
no one sends me anything.
I just don't think there's going to be ever a time where you could make a living off of YouTube for people that make content like us. Okay, right. If you want to be a ridiculous lunatic and do stupid stuff, yeah, you may be able to get
nice. I'm gonna make a living.
Rocco,
subs, have you watched my videos? I'm a ridiculous lunatic.
Yeah, I know that, but we're leaving you out of this time.
Michael, I just subscribed to your channel. I love what you're doing.
No, Rocco, I remembered what I was going to say.
What? Go ahead.
I like the hoodie, Michael. That's probably my favorite one on there.
So about YouTubers, and making it in success, I've noticed that a lot of the guys I watch that have continued over the years, that have not stressed out over the adpocalypse or when algorithms changed, or guys that had a principled matter of, I'm going to make money elsewhere because we're on YouTube's time. We're on their platform. They can change this at any time. So when people start talking about corporate censorship and, you know, freedom of speech and things, guess what? There's no constitution for the internet and for somebody else's server. It's their backyard.
And that's why even if the other sites do not have the exposure, if I have a big enough user base that I have to switch to like VidMe or something, at least things are there, and I want to be more proactive rather than reactive. And so I want to have the structure in place to say, okay, I'm distributing things both places. If YouTube, and I really haven't focused on that a lot because I don't want to have all my videos at VidMe and having 25% of my users on VidMe and 75% on YouTube, because then I'm going to lose out on the bonus of having the extra 75 here. But having the multiple options, if YouTube just goes crazy one day, I got the other option and I can drive people back. And that's why it's important to have the website and always address the website. And that's why I started doing the website at the end of my stuff instead of the Patreon at the end of my site, because I can tell people where to go from my website.
It's good to have that kind of game plan when it's on like your content delivery. But what more like if you look up Jay's 2 cents and try to search for some of his older stuff when he first started getting bigger, he was in the tech world he was at somebody's desk on some big company's computers. He's like, I could have had my job and all my things that came with that corporate job, but you know, I had other revenue streams. I had this over here and that and things. He's like, I'm not going to go into it on the internet, but I have them. I'm cool. But YouTube took off for him. And so he's like, I'm just going to keep this stuff because if this goes south, there it is. So it's, we have the content here, but the rest of the world, there's other opportunities outside of this that can make us money and keep, you know, if we have families or this or that, you know, we all have to do those things too.
Yeah, when Eli the computer guy started having problems with demonetizing of his videos, he actually switched to his failed normal website. And even though he's officially left YouTube, he still uses the YouTube platform to do like those little 2-hour talks that he was doing like back in February or whatever. But he purely does it for marketing now, for his failed normal website, just to try and draw more traffic over there. But as far as like the YouTube goes and the content creation and the views and trying to make money, he doesn't care anymore. He's just he'll keep it till it goes under, basically.
Yeah, he's doing it the right way. He's making his money elsewhere, but still using it as a
it's another platform.
Another platform to gain money from. So
the biggest thing with a lot of the content creators that I've seen on YouTube is that you get people like, as an example, like this is a long time ago, but like Angry Joe, he does video game reviews.
Yep.
He relied solely on YouTube for so long, and every time there's another apocalypse, what's the first thing that he does? He throws up a video complaining about just that. But there's
I'm going to do the same thing, and the reason is it draws views. It draws views. When you complain about YouTube, it draws views. So you better believe it. Tomorrow, I'm doing a video about YouTube demonetizing my videos. This is going to draw views.
And you got to put some ridiculous title in too to make people click on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, well, you know. YouTube attacks Roger the Alien.
Exactly.
Halftime, you know?
Rage quit, not clickbait, _, hashtag love.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Stop. Everybody say goodbye to Chip. He's got to go.
Good night, Chip. Bye.
Keep it salsa.
Anyway, go ahead.
But no, the point I was trying to make was that you get people like that and content creators who didn't diversify where their income is coming from.
You don't have to diversify. You just have to not be reliant on the platform that you know for a fact is not reliable.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm emphasizing. But it's like, if it's unreliable, why are you going to put all your eggs in one basket?
Right.
Well,
Well,
when
even
Eli,
if you look at
when
all
Eli
the
took
best
that hit,
YouTube,
he
they're
was
like, don't do that.
ballistic. I mean, when you look at the first video when he was, because he's talking about 6 figures. I mean, he was really mad, and I don't think he was necessarily in the position he's in now.
Who was?
And he, with his plan. I'm talking about Eli, the computer guy. I remember the first video came out when
Oh no, he doesn't get $100,000. I don't care.
Yeah, but the point is I think most of his eggs were in one basket at that time, and.
Yeah, but I don't know how you could do that. Like, I don't know how you could look at YouTube and say that's where, like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to solely rely on YouTube to do that. That would, to me, is like.
But if
ridiculous.
you're making $1 million or something, then your risk is a little less. It would have to be a substantial amount of income. I agree.
Anybody
but
who
here's the key: if me and Michael did some drama, like there's a bunch of videos on YouTube about YouTubers not getting along. So I'm thinking,
Keep diss track.
Diss tracks.
Diss tracks.
Michael diss tracks. Rocco, all of a sudden, we hate each other. We put all this drama out there. We fake fist fights.
Yeah, content creators.
Stole my clothes.
Yeah,
Put
and
my
we'll be
shirt
millionaires.
From the campaign of buying it, and now dare him.
That's a good thing, and it actually chips the town over from me, so we could stage a real fist fight. I mean,
Right.
Yep.
I mean, think about the money potential.
There actually is a stupid diss track
Michael's
thing
daily driver
where
is
someone's
React OS.
excuse was they took their clothes.
Yeah, but the other thing too is you talk about if there is ever an internet blackout, let's say if all your income was driven via internet,
you're screwed.
It's just as bad. You got to still have something outside of the internet too. I think. I mean, it's.
Well, Ryan, you had mentioned about if you have $1 million, but even that, like even if you are making a ton of money like that, it could still go away tomorrow, regardless of no matter how much you're making. It would make it easier transition, but it's still going to go away.
I mean,
I just don't see how you could put it at your main. No,
you shouldn't. But I mean, most people branch out into product lines. They branch out into game deals. At that point, they have sponsors. They're creating content. Meaning, at the point that you're bringing in that kind of money that you would consider leaving your job, you've got. PewDiePie loses YouTube tomorrow. He's not in any financial trouble, right?
Unless he opens his mouth.
But he's got video game deals out there. He's got all this stuff. So my point is, like, it's the same with the work job. If you go out there and said something, really bad, then nobody may hire you again, especially if you made it into the media or news. But so those risks are there regardless. So I think there is a point where you could leave your job. Are there any Linux content creators going to get there?
Entrepreneurship in general is risky.
Well, the thing is, like, there's a YouTuber who realized that you shouldn't rely on the platform that you're posting on, especially when every few months they're gone. Like, everything is irrelevant, and you have to change the way you do stuff. So they were like, let's completely not care about YouTube ads, not even turn them on, and then because of that, the content ID system or the adpocalypse won't even touch me because I'm not asking for their money. Use Patreon only, and he's making like $12,000 a month purely on Patreon. He doesn't do any other things. It's just that. And while that's not like something you could say that, some people would say that's not enough. I'd want to like continue building my, my empire or something. He said it's perfectly fine. And that's way more than I give me 12,000 a year on YouTube, and I would be glowing with excitement.
I think all of us would be.
I'd be glowing.
Yeah.
So he's doing it. He's doing
even
it.
That though,
he is set. And
even that though, now you have to worry about Patreon going under because they do weird things too.
Yeah, it's as long as you but I'm saying it's like you can put all your eggs in one basket if your basket is your fans.
I mean, your work could lay you off tomorrow too. People act like these risks don't exist elsewhere. I mean, these companies, you work for a big corporation, you're used to that nice, steady paycheck, and then tomorrow you get laid off. So
you're just a number.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me 7 years ago. That's why I went freelancing, because now I have a lot more control over it. I mean, I may not be making as much, but I mean, I was a professor, and it's like I had no idea that they were looking at potentially replacing me with somebody more local, and all of a sudden, overnight, with no backup plan at all, I mean, I lost a $55,000 a year job with no warning. They didn't give me notice. Now they had to pay me a year in advance, so they didn't get sued, but it could happen anytime.
Yeah,
I believe it.
And so diversification is always what I've been part of, and that's why I do the web design freelancing. I'm even on my channel. Even right now I have books for sale. I have Patreon. I have PayPal. I have the YouTube ads, and I want to diversify as much as I possibly can. And
did you make a picture version of your book, pictures only, because Michael can't read?
Wow.
Not yet. I mean, I probably can, but no, I didn't yet.
That's ridiculous.
There is an ebook version that can read it to you.
That's
I'm pretty
ridiculous. Sure. I don't need pictures. Did you make an audiobook?
Pictures are confusing too.
Pictures are not totally clear. They're ambiguous. If you just tell me.
Here's a picture. There you go. There's a picture.
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Oh, God. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know where the ending is, but I wish there at some point places like VidMe would gain the popularity, gain the following. I just don't see it happening.
It's never going to happen.
No. Not until YouTube totally dies.
It's not going to.
Which they're not going to, like Microsoft. No matter how much you wish it, Microsoft is never going to die.
Well,
and MySpace will never go away.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe dies isn't the best word, because if they get their will and they convert everything over to the whole YouTube TV, whatever they're trying to accomplish, at some point in time, other things can cause an upset and move towards it. I mean, it's possible, it's not likely. But sometimes I have to wonder if Google's not trying to kill it.
I think Google is trying to maximize how much it can profit at this point, because it's not profitable, but if you look at what they're doing, especially I think the guy Tim Pool that I put his handle in the chat for, he's an independent journalist. He was talking about how they changed algorithms to remove fake news. So now they're arbitrarily deciding what's what to kind of get rid of all the conspiracy theory and that stuff. And it's like, okay, that's cool. If I could get rid of that, that's fine. But when people go to YouTube, it's alternative sources. So now they're replacing that with your CNN, your Fox News and stuff. So what we have done is cutting the cord is now seeping into our feeds here.
Correct. And that's why people come to YouTube, and that's why something else can gain popularity as long as they resist moving in that general direction.
Yeah, as long as they don't filter us out and continue to put a deluge of the crap we already decided to not pay for.
And that's what they're trying to do, though, from what I see. And that's why if they get their will and it becomes over a certain tipping point, which might be 25%, might be 75%, at some point in time, people will abandon the platform, because all of the stuff that they came to the platform to get away from is here.
Yeah, but like we were talking about earlier, all the crazy nonsensical stuff like fidget spinner on a truck. That stuff is here. That stuff replaced cable network stuff for people up to my age. I'm 30 now. So anyone younger than me is definitely, dirty 30. I'm here. So, but now those people are gonna get all the news stuff and all the advertising that we left cable for, and they're not even gonna care that all the potentially meaningful and other stuff is kind of getting squandered and pushed away. People that are trying to do things, you still have to fight through that viewership. There's a musician that was he worked at a major record company, and he was like, hey, come check out my YouTube thing. And the guy looked at it, was like, meh. But what happens is you can have crap bands that will sell, and they will put them on tour and things because people, they get views, they get people there, they want to see or hear their music, but they're crap. But if you have good musicians that aren't getting a following, they're like, whatever. So it's the same thing. They're trying to pull that kind of demographic in with their new algorithms and things. They're keeping stuff that has views, but everything else underneath, they're just like, we're just going to cut it off.
The other thing
how
you
it feels.
forget too, though, with YouTube, we keep talking about monetization. Not everything on YouTube is about monetization either.
No.
You know, somebody wants to learn how to groom their cat, they look it up. You know, those people aren't out there to necessarily get views to make money or fix your car or change a headlight or, you know what I mean, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of how-to videos out there just because. You know, so I do think, though, like what you're saying is that there's going to be a tipping point for the people who want to monetize and make money. I don't know that I'd ever see YouTube completely go away unless it just, you know, there's a goal for it, like with the TV or whatever, that it's going to switch its primary, what the platform would be for, but it might be used differently, but I don't know if it'll completely go away. I think if, you know, you already see it where, because of the monetization thing, that people are trying to get away, you know, and do other things, and it just depends at what level it's going to happen. Well, who knows? The future's only going to be able to tell that, you know. But you can see the start of it already.
Demonetization is not censorship, though.
No, but this what would be kind of like a censorship is their algorithms and how they're making editorial decisions on things.
They don't make
like
any
news.
editorial decision.
It's a backhanded kind
of. Don't make those videos not visible. They might put them in the not kid-friendly section, which most of the time they're not kid-friendly, which is unfortunate that they have like such a huge wall up, and it's not like a tier system. It's either everything or super limited. They should have two tiers. That'd be fine with me, but it's still not censoring. Those videos are still there. And also, if you realize I just want my message out there. I just want people to see my news. Turn off monetization, and then it won't do anything at all. Right. You could say whatever horrible, vile stuff you want, and if your monetization is off, it doesn't care. So, like, that's why people are complaining. Is like it's not about their message. It's not about the censorship. If they cared about their message being out, they would take off the monetization and go do a Patreon only thing.
Well, it is about the message, okay? It is. Except for I like the money. I like the money.
And the reality is, though, is that for many people, they need this income to do their message, and I understand, and I agree with you, Michael, that I mean, it's not censorship. Except the problem is when they're saying this video is not demonetized. Some algorithm has detected my channel, and I'm very much like Eli in the respect that I know where the boundary is, what's appropriate, what's not, and I don't go near the boundary. So,
Eli does.
I understand the channel gets demonetized because the guy's dropping 16 F-bombs in 35 seconds because the terms and conditions you agreed to said don't do that. And the fact you're getting monetization at all and you're still doing that is shocking. Okay? Right. But I don't swear at all on my channel. I'm talking about tech reviews. Why are my videos getting demonetized?
I agree. I also don't do that on my channel. I don't do it at all on public any kind of things because it's ridiculous to do so because there's no benefit to doing it. However, Eli does do it. And his complaining is like, well, you don't have a reason to complain. But it is annoying that people who have no reason to be demonetized are getting demonetized. Yes, I agree with that. I was hit too. I'm just saying that it's not censorship. If I go into that video and turn off the monetization on that video, it's perfectly fine for the people to watch it. There's no issue. It doesn't matter. And it just because
there's another word for it, though. It may not be censorship as far as censoring like the actual video or message, but it's controlling the content because you realize that people are doing it for money, and they are deciding themselves who is going to or what message is going to be out there because they know it depends on the money. So it may not be censorship in the sense that they're removing the message, but they're making it difficult. So they're trying to steer the conversation.
This as a reactionary issue.
I'm sorry, what?
Can we talk about how YouTube is only doing this as a reactionary action?
It doesn't really matter to me whether it's reactionary or right from the start. Because they're still doing it. They're still controlling the content, regardless of why it started. They're trying to steer the content.
Algorithm thing. They're trying to fix the algorithm. They're not trying to hit anybody. They don't want to hit people who are not supposed to be hit. They don't want to hit people.
Well, if that were true, though, I could have my videos checked now. Why do I have to wait until I have 1,000? Because this is the exact issue.
500 million minutes of video.
No. Well, no. Understand this. Understand this. This is the exact issue Joe Collins brought up when he brought this up. Was about a month ago. Is for a small content creator, the revenue I make on anything on my channel is in the first 3 days on a video.
That's true.
Well, if every one of my videos for the first 3 days of my video goes in and can't get any views, then my entire monetization, I'm going to lose every bit of revenue immediately.
Yeah.
Now, that's not 100% true because, I mean, I know for a fact the top 5 video series that I do is always the highest for monetization. But if they start saying, oh, those are demonetized too, for whatever reason, then it gets to the point where I have to have a video that crosses that 1,000 threshold to get anything looked at, and that's the danger. And that's the exact thing Joe Collins was talking about.
That's unfortunate, but they have a reason to do it.
I think they can come up with better algorithms. Like, why did you flag a video talking about technical programs?
Because it's not perfect, and they started making this algorithm reactionary, and they've only been working on it for 6 months. It takes time.
Why is this the first time I got hit with it today?
You've been lucky.
Because it's not perfect, and you were lucky. It's going through 500 million hours of content every day. That is ridiculous. They can't like check it out when it's like, oh, this one channel got hit. Well, we need a threshold because
there had to be a trigger word or something somewhere.
Millions of employees to check it out manually, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to do something to set a limit, and that limit is unfortunate. It hurts a lot of people.
I just can't believe Rocco's not supporting Google product.
It's just ridiculous. That
you know what there was supposed to be a limit on?
They didn't even want to do in the first place.
This series,
the time on this live stream, there was supposed to
was meant to be an hour.
It
was 2.5 hours ago.
It was supposed to be 12:30. We were supposed to end this.
So 6 minutes ago.
And
what's
to be
the time
fair,
now, then, Rocco?
It was my suggestion, and I totally just destroyed that.
You did. It was your suggestion, and I thought it was an awesome idea, and we just totally blew it.
So, Michael,
the thing you have to remember, it's not just YouTube that's having this issue. Okay, I have a reseller store on eBay. There's people that do Amazon. There's the same things are happening there because of their basically their algorithm, the robots, whatever you want to call them, that are scanning. There are people that are having problems now on eBay with local pickup, because they're saying you're sharing wrong information when your information ahead of it and you're circumventing the system. Well, it's not necessarily true. In some cases it might be, but there's a lot of people I know that's not true, and all of a sudden they're getting shut down. The same thing with Amazon. It affects their livelihoods. I mean, let's get back to YouTube again. Now, here's Craigslist Hunter. He's a reseller guy. And on a technicality that was it his fault, wasn't it his fault? Because it was the local pickup thing. And they flagged his store for 7 days. And he put it out on YouTube. Now, granted, he's still getting whatever he gets on YouTube. He doesn't totally rely on it. He's got multiple streams. But my point is it's not just YouTube's platform that's doing this. It's all kinds of platforms that are running these algorithms to do the work for them when you don't have a live body doing it. And it's impossible to have live bodies doing it. They couldn't afford to do it.
But I think the issue is, in my opinion, I'm kind of in the middle of both. I get all sides of it. I work on very complex networks that people are constantly trying to get into, and we have to constantly balance between stopping them and also making our regular customers not get impacted by the changes that we make. And it's kind of like having a store that, you know, maybe your customers felt unsafe in, so you start putting Gatling guns everywhere and an army out in front, and now none of your customers want to go to it. And that's kind of what YouTube's option was. It was they were desperate, they got scared. To me, they deployed a nuclear option, and everybody's getting flagged that clearly do not have content that should be flagged. Their algorithm's not perfect. It will take time to perfect, but I think it's too broad at the moment. But they're reacting as a business to try to stop the bleeding that was happening. So I get it. I don't agree with the way that they reacted to it. I hope they pull back. It doesn't sound like they are for a lot of you. I guess I've been lucky. I haven't had that happen to me yet, but I'm sure it will. But I'm hoping by that time that they kind of scale back a little bit, because I mean, it's funny because I've seen this happen on situations, even like the Las Vegas, disaster that happened recently, where commercials are running on websites for CNN or other places that are just completely off topic to what people are tuning into. Like that person, that company surely wouldn't want their ad there for what they were marketing, but it still was there. So there's no perfect way to do it. Nobody's implemented one, but I think YouTube just went a little too far and could scale back.
Oh God, Michael.
No, I'm just saying I completely agree with that. Like,
I was going to say that
totally.
I think the one thing that YouTube's possibly done incorrectly is there seems to be safe channels, because why isn't it that the big media outlets haven't been hit? Because they're making such a big deal about running ads on violent and all these videos like this. Why is it that the big news media outlets get the free pass? Because they're running the same type of content, oftentimes worse style content than some of the other ones.
Because they're verified news sources. They're trusted news
and that's
sources.
a challenge. And that's the thing. That's that they should have. If you want to deploy an algorithm like this, you should deploy the algorithm unilaterally, not having that.
That's
because
they end up holding the purses for Google and YouTube.
Correct. And that's kind of my point. That it's just.
And did this all start because the big named advertisers were pulling out of YouTube because they didn't like their adverts on specific content types?
Nah. At least that's the popular narrative, yeah.
That is what happened. That's not why it happened.
So why do you think why it happened?
Wall Street Journal are vindictive people, and they were really mad that they didn't have their ad revenue that they were having, and they were like, oh, let's attack YouTube. So they attack YouTube like 3 years ago, and it blows up in their face. Everybody laughs at them. That's ridiculous. So then, we can't attack YouTube. What can we do? Let's attack YouTubers, and let's go for the biggest one, PewDiePie. And let's call him a giant racist. Now that turns out that's kind of, but let's call him a giant Nazi and stuff, and then that blows up in their face because the videos that they were saying he was a Nazi for was obviously not legitimate references of him being a Nazi, so they were just making themselves look stupid again. So the same people come back like 6 months later and say, "Hey, we found these particular." By the way, it was 2 videos. They just kept refreshing 2 videos. So these random weird 2 videos are terrorist videos that had Coca-Cola, Chick-fil-A, and all these other companies that are having ads roll. And what they could have done if they actually wanted to protect people and they wanted to make things get done right, they could go to these terrorist websites and just flag that video and go to YouTube and say, hey, you should stop that. No. They go to Twitter and they go to their website and they release this YouTube is terrorist advertisements and stuff. And then they go into the point where the next day they assume that everybody reads the Wall Street Journal because we're super important. The next day they go on Twitter and attack all of the companies that they put in their article. And it's like, they still don't have advertisements on YouTube. This means they don't care about what we're advertising on the terrorist videos. Therefore, they're evil. We're good. Advertise
with supporting terrorism.
And it was It was just they were just attacking YouTube. So the companies, the way to beat YouTube was, in their opinion, after they tried everything else, was instead of attacking YouTube, let's like attack YouTube's pockets,
revenue,
let's attack their advertisers. So they didn't attack YouTube in this particular situation. They attacked Coke and Pepsi and Chick-fil-A and all these other companies that were advertising. And all these companies are like, whoa, we don't want to be that. No, you don't attack us. Pull money out of YouTube. YouTube freaks out. Millions of dollars lost every day. And they're like, we can't afford to run YouTube with all this money gone. We have to do something. And what they did is exactly what Ryan said, is a nuclear option. They just unleashed this algorithm that had to be made super quick. Because if you look at all the stuff, none of these videos, none of these people complaining ever existed before March of this year. Because the Wall Street Journal thing happened in March of this year. So it's proof that that's what started it. It was just this massive reactionary thing that is unfortunate that they did it. It's hurting people that it shouldn't hurt, but there's so much content that they cannot do it perfectly that quick, and there's no way for them to do anything about it.
So the net got cast wide. That's all. Basically.
They have to constantly work on making this algorithm work, make it not hurt people that it's not supposed to hurt. But they can't do it super fast because they didn't expect this to happen. Because if you look at their terms of service, all of these companies knew it. They knew it. Because if you look at the terms of service before March, it said that there is a likelihood of 1.3% of your advertisements going on unfavorable videos, potentially hate, violent videos, things like that. They list out what it could be on. And they said, we can't guarantee it will be perfect. There will be this tiny percentage. And Wall Street Journal looked for that tiny percentage and attacked them.
Yeah.
So it's like
the real kicker for me is oftentimes the ads I see on YouTube are more offensive to me than the videos. I mean, if I watch a video if I watch a video on YouTube, I know what I'm getting into. I have no control over that ad, and I would really like there to be a "this ad is offensive to me" button on there.
Is that Learn Linux in 5 days? Is that learning Linux in 5 days?
No. I mean, that one's annoying me. Actually, the ones that annoy me the most right now are if you've seen the 2 or 3 ads by that guy, like, this is me, I'm going to walk in and buy this fancy car. There's a whole group of ads. Those guys are idiots.
This building is for sale.
But I know those don't bother me. But I'll be sitting there, and oftentimes I'll let the ad roll because I know that helps the content creator. But then I'll hear an ad that swears. I'm like, no. You want me to buy your product, the last thing you want to do is start swearing at me in your advertisement, you know?
Yeah, exactly. There's that's ridiculous too. But there's
and by the way, I really liked what they did with limiting to 10,000, which did hurt 2 of my channels. That 2 of my channels aren't monetized because I've not crossed that 10,000 threshold. I agree with that threshold.
Yeah, I agree with the threshold too.
In fact, I think you might tier it a little bit more, have the 10,000 and then have another tier, just like, and I'm not sure exactly how you do that, but you know, because it's easy for a scammer group that they're trying to prevent this to cross that threshold. It's easier for them to cross it than it is for me to cross it.
I mean,
but I guess if they are manually reviewing at that point, I don't know that. I'm sorry, what?
Right. It's because they didn't want to, like, it deters people because it doesn't, deters people because it has a limitation. Spammers don't, they because it's not automatically getting money and because it's not automatically getting suggested and like getting YouTube's backing, those videos are not worth uploading anymore. So they'll go to Facebook and upload them there instead. And things like that.
Facebook is bad. Facebook.
Yeah, they don't care.
There's some horrid videos that come up on Facebook, and how they get away with that is beyond me.
It's hilarious to me that people are attacking YouTube when Facebook is such horrid stuff and makes money off of it, and they don't even care. And most of the content, like I'd say at least half of the content on Facebook is stolen from YouTube.
Yeah.
Some random person on YouTube.
Does anybody know, because I don't have a Facebook account, but is Facebook allowing you to monetize your videos on there now?
Some
you
people
can make
get monetization.
some people. Okay, gotcha.
Is it like an invite only if be invited?
Yeah, there's a campaign thing, and of course they invite all the people who are stealing content. Of course, because if you go to Facebook and you see a video and it says a video and it has a little thing at the top that says some stupid caption with some emoticons and stuff, and then at the bottom same thing, stolen, guaranteed stolen, because no one who makes original content will put that atrocity on their video. So and it's because they want it to be square so it fits better in the Instagram world too. But
yeah, and who covered all this? That really big guy with the beard, what's his name? He gave it to them. I can't remember his name now. He was Francis. Is it Francis?
Oh, Boogie.
Boogie.
Francis.
Francis is the character. Boogie is the guy.
That's his name. I didn't know his name, but he got stuck into him because some of his videos were up on Facebook as well, and he was, and then he paid money to get extra views or something or whatever, and he was just getting canned big time through that. So that was an interesting rant, that one, I must say.
So like the yell, he has his channel is him yelling as Francis and being serious and normal as Boogie.
Boogie 2988.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right.
And his character Francis claims that Boogie is fake and is a character, and Boogie claims that Francis is a character and fake.
Right.
So it's a interchangeable joke thing, but Boogie's
right. I'll have to look him up then.
Yeah. Because he has a lot of he's actually really interesting because he tells you like all like his life stuff, like he's going through like surgery and stuff, and it's actually pretty interesting. But anyway, I just don't like the idea. Like, I understand diversifying your places that you put your stuff. You should do that anyway. And I don't, Tom, is that your name, right? Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree completely with you to have your own individual website to like, have your content where people you can push people to your particular content and not rely on any individual like platform that you don't have control over. I completely agree with that. So that's a valid point, and you should also put it in like wherever you want, much as you want. But YouTube will not go away. There's no way no one can actually afford to leave YouTube because of the not even the money, just the attention. The percentage of people who are on YouTube that are on other things, it's like 99% YouTube. You can switch over a few people, but most of them are not going to stay.
So I mean, I'm wondering if on that basis alone, it's probably worth starting putting everything I have on other alternative places as well, because of that very thing. That if I'm doing, in fact, right now, my Patreon sub count's gone up a whole lot more. That's to the point right now that probably within another month or so, if growth continues, Patreon will be bigger revenue for me than YouTube.
Yeah, I actually have a very small Patreon. It's already bigger revenue than YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm on 6 right now.
Revenue is like worthless.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's kind of funny because it's like I even have like I have a lot of views. Like the threshold thing is not a problem for me. Like I'll hit the threshold if it goes to monetize. I'll hit the threshold because I am like what is the word annoying when it comes to marketing. I will market ridiculous. So there is time where when I got hit by the demonetization, I was like, oh, challenge accepted, and I just started pushing it. And it took me like 5 days still, but I still got it to hit the threshold. And then it was like, and I think that video after I stopped pushing it was like, I think I got like an extra 100 or something, but whatever. The main thing is that if you have diversification, it's good, but it's not important because YouTube owns the market so much that even if you don't like YouTube, you kind of need to do YouTube.
Yep.
Like if you intend to make video content and promote it and like release it anywhere, if you're not on YouTube,
You don't exist.
You don't. Yeah, you don't exist. Who's gonna care?
And a good example of that is I like watching Eli's content. I've not watched a lick of anything he's done on Failed Normal because I'm not going to another website.
Exactly.
So you're a perfect example of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, undefensively. Now, I mean, it's like YouTube's not the only place I watch videos, but I'm not going to one individual guy's website exclusively to watch his videos.
Right. Exclusively is one thing. Like when you were saying making your own website, you can point people to that website. As long as you're not requiring them to watch it on yours.
No. I'm using the video to draw them back to the website because that's where you can see how you can support me. Because I mean, that's where I want to sell the majority of the products. Like right now, I've just released this new book today, and you know, if you buy it directly from me, I have the highest commission rate. The second highest commission rate is buying from CreateSpace. Third highest is buying it from Amazon, and then fourth highest is going to be buying it from anywhere else. So that's kind of where I have them listed. So I'd like it if they come over. Now, the problem, of course, is I can't sell international with that because I'm not getting into the VAT, HST, GST, and whatever else. So international, you're buying it through one of the channels. I'm not dealing with it. You know?
Yeah, and the ABC and XYZ, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
Correct. Yeah. So all my ebooks.
Sounds like an STD to me.
It does.
It sounds like something you don't want.
I try to sell international. I got AIDS.
It's a virus. It's a virus.
On that note, the stream was supposed to end 25 minutes ago, so everybody gets a last word.
Technically,
Tom?
you said that it was not supposed to be a long stream, but you didn't say we're going to end it. So
no,
now
I did. No, I did. Like when we started the stream, when you weren't
at the
here.
beginning you did, yeah.
When you weren't here yet.
Well, that's because your timing was off.
My timing was off, or you were late.
I was gonna say, I think
on your perspective.
It depends on location too.
Yeah, it's all about attitude and time zone.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Zeb, last word.
Just enjoy your Linux.
There you go. Joe.
Multiple streams.
Multiple streams.
Multiple streams.
Tom.
I agree with Joe. Multiple streams, just diversify. I'll use the word diversify.
There you go.
Diversify. Michael, you can't use Linux is everywhere t-shirts because you already used that one.
I would never do that. That's I would never do that. Like that would be absurd.
Everywhere but on this channel.
That's his last word right there.
My last word is you said I can't use Linux Everywhere t-shirt. Okay, how about tuxdigital.com/shirt?
Okay. Okay. Matt.
Everything but GNOME.
Oh my gosh. Gotta go back to the GNOME. Scrap?
Just use what works.
I'm on GNOME.
There you go. I love it. Just use what works. Colin?
First time connection to Zoom next week. Successful.
Nice. Ryan?
That's hopefully.
T-shirts are really cute, guys.
Wow.
Let me know when you get to the Yeti cups.
Seeing how you pulled that out, I'm going to pull the Big Daddy cup out.
That cup is monstrous.
It is.
How big is that cup?
It's a Big Daddy cup, dude. Come on.
I was gonna say, hey, Michael, didn't you have like a bathtub of coffee or something?
This is a normal size. This is a normal size Destination Linux mug, and this is my Big Daddy cup.
To be fair, if you didn't have a large cup with a Big Daddy on it, I'd be kind of disappointed. So it's a very good choice.
That was a gift. That was awesome too. It was perfect.
That must be custom made.
All right, so next week we'll do 10:30 to 12:30 for the stream. Okay, so everybody knows. So don't give me that. I didn't hear it. I didn't technically say it.
So it'll be 10:30 to whenever.
Wait. When you say everybody,
12:30-ish. 12:30-ish.
No, not 12:30-ish.
Ryan?
I think he's trying to censor us, Michael, like YouTube.
It must be.
He's censoring our content.
It's the Rockpocalypse.
Eastern time.
Eastern time, dude. Eastern. 10:30 to 12:30 Eastern.
Okay.
All right, I'll catch you guys next week.
See ya. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you later.